right, how are you out there, everybody? We are coming to you live. This is Celebrity Talent Booking and Geektainment. I am Jeff Zanini. I am introducing the cast of the Exorcist TV show. I don't know about you guys, but I loved this show. So it is my honor to say everybody, and I am going to hand it over to Jeremy Slater, the creator of the show. He's going to host this panel and talk to the cast. Enjoy.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's obviously wonderful to see all of your amazing, each and every one of you. Maybe just do just kind of a roll call of who all's on the call right now, who you played on the show, where you are now, what you're working on now. Who wants to get us started? Brienne.
Hey. I'm Brienne. I played Kat. I was depressed, not possessed, is how I like. I've missed you guys so much. It's so nice to see everybody. Now, later this year, I just finished a Netflix show called Ginny and Georgia that will come out later this year. That I'm excited about.
And you're on The Passage, which was awesome.
The Passage right after this, also with Jason Ensler, who we love. That was super fun. Scary. Yeah. You
finally got to wear some monster makeup.
I understood everything Hannah had to go through, the aesthetics, the whole head cast. It was insane. 3 hours on, like 45 minutes off. Hey.
Magic of showbiz. Who's next on the list? Hannah Kasoka.
Hi, I'm Hannah Kasoka. I play Casey Rand. So good to see you guys. Like, my cheeks hurt from smiling so much because I'm so excited. I'm quarantined in LA right now and missing my family in Georgia and also my family and friends here. Because anybody. But yeah, I've been working on making stuff in the air fryer. I have attempted to make bread and it hasn't gone good. And I'm writing. I've been writing some projects. I have like a horror feature and a comedy feature that I've worked on. But yeah.
Cool. Ben Daniels.
Ben Daniels. I played Father Marcus in the show and just in quarantine. The last thing I was working on was a new Netflix show called Jupiter's Legacy, which is a new superhero show based on comics by brilliant Mark Miller. And I think that's out later this year. It depends. It's all up in the air, isn't it? Who knows? And then hopefully we'll go again next year, but that's all up in the air as well.
Gina Davis.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, oh God, I miss all you guys so much. We had, I don't know, we had the best time doing this thing. And I was Angela Lee, someone else, after 5. But we need to go back to Ben, if he can remember that Angela Rand song. Something about my
jazz pants.
Yeah, what?
In her orange jazz pants. I can't remember what it was. It's Angela Rand. Angela Rand in her woolly jazz pants.
That song.
It was in my orange dance pants.
Orange dance pants.
I just remember that between takes when we were doing the scene of the Hannah's Exorcist, I just remember Ben Daniels singing that song over and over and over again, like for the 8 hours of that day.
Yeah,
got us through. Kept the demons away.
We also have, I'm just going down the list in order. We also have Alan Ruck.
Hi, everybody. Boy, it's so nice to see you guys. I'm Alan Ruck. I played Angela's brain-damaged husband, Henry. And it was, it was like a license to steal, because you can do anything. I'm currently working on a show called Succession, playing another psycho emotionally challenged person.
I love Succession.
The latest in the long list of brain damaged people. people. I, like everybody else, I'm just hunkered down in Los Angeles with my family, and everything is good. I mean, we're all well, so
Great.
Yeah. Hi. Oh, look at it's Miss Davis.
Just beaming at you.
Yeah, it's nice to see you. I saw Gina at some screening like a year and a half ago, and I think that's the last time I saw anybody.
Right.
So yeah, this is terrific.
And last but not least, we have Alfonso Herrera.
Well, hi, I'm Alfonso Herrera. I played Tomas Ortega, Latino priest, living in Southside Chicago. Right now I'm in Mexico City. Quarantined for almost more than 100 days. I think it's 120 today. But yeah, I just finished a film called The Dance of the 41, which explores the LGBT community in 1901, like the underground parties that took place on that era in Mexico. And it's probably gonna be a theatrical. I don't know when because of the pandemic. It's probably gonna be aired in Netflix maybe next year. So besides that, I'm watching lots of cartoons with my little 3-year-old son. That he was actually born in Chicago while we were shooting The Exorcist, and he's now 3 years old. And yeah, happy, and I'm so glad to see you all, your beautiful faces.
Well, thank you guys. Obviously, thank you for spending your day. We have a bunch of questions from fans that came in on Twitter, but before that happens, Hannah's the one who organized this little reunion and put this all together, and just kind of graciously donating their time for a good cause. And I wanted to give Hannah a chance to kind of talk about that before we dive in.
Yeah, the idea came because a lot of fans were reaching out and discovering the show, I think, through quarantine and binging things and whatever. So I was like, oh, this is cool, and I miss all these people, and what if we could do something that would help a cause? And First Nations is an organization that helps Indigenous communities in America who have been hit hardest by COVID-19. They're disproportionately affected by the disease and have had little to no resources. So First Nation helps provide food and resources and just helps Native American people get back on their feet. So thank everyone for donating and donating their time and resources. And yeah, I'm excited that we get to see each other.
Thanks for arranging it.
Yeah. And I think they're going to have some little...
For me.
I think they're going to have some little donation buttons that are going to pop up on the screen, though. So if you're watching this, enjoy it. If you enjoyed these wonderful people and the work they do, please click on it. Please throw in $5, $10, whatever you can. It's a great cause. And again, thank you all for doing this on Sunday afternoon. It's very cool. Let's just kind of turn it over and ask some questions. I'm a terrible moderator. This is
I think you're doing a wonderful job.
I think
so. I'm just going to pass off the responsibility to Twitter. First question was from Jason that said, "Did anything creepy happen on set during filming?"
Trump was elected.
Yeah. That was a rough day for everybody, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's pretty creepy.
Day.
We had to stop working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our Gina Davis couldn't finish her French toast that morning. Literally, she couldn't eat.
Yeah.
She couldn't eat.
I couldn't eat my daily. That's true. I could not.
You couldn't.
I forgot you had French toast every day. Yeah.
I just remember that too. Oh, guys.
I walked into the trailer and tears were, and I said, "Are you worried for our country?" And she couldn't even talk. She just nodded her head.
Oh.
Poor baby.
Everything worked out okay. This is a nightmare.
That's why we went to. That's why we went to Canada to do the second season, right? Because you had a Mexican, and on the.
Oh yeah, we wanted to get you out of the wall. We had to get you. Before
That's right. We needed. I'm sorry, Hannah. We had to take you to Vancouver.
I loved Vancouver. I took a prop plane and saw whales. It was amazing. I love Vancouver. It had the best sushi I've ever had. I can't remember what it was called, but I loved it. I would go back to Vancouver any day.
Hannah, giant glass, or you're holding it really close to the camera?
I'm holding it really close to the camera. I did get an avocado from today that is this big. It's as big as my head. I was like,
wow.
Whoa. Could bring that. I'll show that my son later.
If the donations hit a certain level, we'll bring out the avocado. That's the.
Yes.
Well, the first season was filmed in Chicago, obviously during what I thought was a pretty cold winter. How did you guys enjoy filming in Chicago? Did anyone have any fun adventures there? That question came from Heaven.
I loved Chicago. Amazing energy. I think it was really poor and rich, and the kind of those things pushed up against each other. There's this explosion of creativity there, in theater and food and music, and everyone's really kind of vibrant and alive, and the people are sort of brusque, and people talk about New York as being rude, but I mean they're rude. I then went straight back to do a movie with Rupert after we finished the Exorcist when it was really cold. But I love it there from never having been there before. It was a real treat to film there.
Right. All of us got sick to death of the room service menu at the hotel. We won't mention what hotel it was, but oh God, it was gruesome. How few items there were on that menu. Oh.
By the way, was the room service menu.
I ate at so many good restaurants there. I will dream about Duck Duck Go.
We went to.
Oh my gosh.
What about it? They had really delicious drinks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, where we sat outside, the cocktail place.
That place was I think about
same. I'll be like, oh, remember that burger we had? Or
3 hours. Didn't we wait 3 hours for that one place?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called.
Oh, I'll show you.
They also have a Dylan candy bar there on 2 floors.
Yeah.
Which I liked.
Oh, no, yeah.
They made the river green on St. Patrick's Day. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The river was the architecture tour. The boat
Yes.
Anytime anyone came to visit.
Yeah, that was the go. They still email me, and I'm like, guys, look, I would love to come, but I can't. I don't know what this is mean. This is honestly I've unsubscribed because it's hurtful. I keep getting. I wish I could come. Yeah.
Well, and a couple of you, Hannah and Ben, wound up in the water in Chicago in when was that? Late October?
It was late October, and it was the night that Alfonso's son was being born.
Yeah.
20. I can remember.
Every 5 minutes, checking the phone, going, "Has he been born? Has it been born?" Because you didn't know what it was then, did you?
22nd of September at 10:50 p.m. You guys were in the water, and
we were in the water.
Exactly.
It was actually all right.
September 22nd.
Yeah.
September 22nd.
By the way, thank you, Alan. Your Lola Baby CD came all the way to my house. It was a wonderful gift.
Oh, good.
Enjoyed it a lot. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, sure. Is that the 22nd of September? Is that right? That's my wife's birthday. That's my wife's birthday. Yeah.
She's
right on the cusp. She's Virgo with right on the cusp of Libra. With everything
He's not a very good. Please. Can he wait just maybe 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 more hour, please? And boom, 2 Virgos.
Nice.
So your house is very neat.
Yes, it is,
Yeah.
and she's crazy because of that. Of my obsession. Actually, she's obsessed in terms of things being cleaned in order. I'm actually a very good. That is atypical.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys did a wonderful job in the lake. I remember I watched, I think it was episode 6, I guess. 6,
Yeah.
right? And I love that scene between Hannah and Ben. You guys
I
rock.
can't really. Was it that cold? It was pretty cold.
Oh yeah, if you're a nightgown,
You were colder than me. It got to a point where we were like, well, I stayed out of the water for a long time. I was in there with one stump woman. We were in there so long. She went blue, and she had to be. She went like hypothermic. I was like, guys, still in the water. Can we get Anna in, and then maybe we can go home?
well, it was so. They were like, "Okay, can you not shiver? Like we're going to shoot. Or can you?" I was like, yeah.
Oh.
I honestly don't remember shooting. I don't really remember shooting that, but it was beautiful. Like the way it turned out, and like
It was a cool.
Chicago in the backdrop. Like this architecture in that city is so wild, and that lake is just so cool. I mean, very fun. And our poor cameramen like in plastic and stuff. Like I remember them too. Like it was a ride.
It was a rough day. Yeah. But a great day for Alfonso.
Yes.
Well, let's. A lot of these questions have to do with kind of the beginnings of the characters. So maybe let's jump back a little bit and talk about kind of how some of you came to. There's a lot of questions that I got that were like, was this part specifically written for this person, or was this written with this person in mind? And mine, because the script was written, like the pilot script was written in 5 days. It's a long, boring, complicated story, but there were legal issues and it wasn't going to happen. And then they came back and they said, okay, there's a chance it could happen, but you would need a week in order to be in contention. And so that first pilot was kind of just word vomit hitting the page. And so when we went into casting, we cast a very wide net. We were kind of, we want to see everyone, we want to talk to everyone, because we did not have those kind of clear ideas of who is Father Marcos, who is Father Tomas. I mean, I think the very first version of the pilot, Tomas was Father Elliot. He was an Irish priest. Marcus was like a 25-year-old kind of wonder kid, raised within the Vatican. Radically different, yeah. Ben and Alfonso, do you guys want to talk about the casting process and like the first time you guys were in the room together? Because first, when we saw you two together, that was when we all kind of behind the scenes realized, oh my God, this is what the show is meant to be. What was that process like for you?
I received a call from my agents, and I went to a meeting with Rollin. Rollin was there. We had maybe a 15-minute talk. After that, I went back to my hotel. I received another call from my agent, and Jeremy, we were going to have breakfast at this place. What we were going to do. I was not quite sure if I was going to do it or not. That I went into casting. I did some tests with you guys. I had to fly maybe a couple of times back and forth from Mexico City to LA. It was like a 2 weeks process. And when they told me that it was me, I remember I was in Berlin shooting Sense8. And they said, you know what, Alfonso, you're not going to go back to Mexico. You're going to go to Chicago to shoot the pilot. And yeah, that's how it happened. But I remember I had dinner with Ben before one of the tests. Yeah. I think it was
the chemistry test.
Exactly. We had a dinner, right?
We did.
That.
And anything in this kind of I'd read with someone else. I'd I had been in LA and I auditioned.
I remember that story.
I auditioned, and then they kept, I remember meeting, and we sort of sat down and talked, and then I was due to fly back to London, and they were like, no, they want you to do a chemistry test with this guy who's a good actor, and it was awful. It was really, really bad. And I couldn't connect with him, and he was so nervous that he just like wasn't looking, you know, there was like no connection at all. And I was like, oh no, this is a nightmare. It's just going down the pan. Neither of us are going to get this. And then they kept me, and then they said, no, there's someone else we want you to read with, which was Alfonso. And it was amazing. And Alfonso was really up for it. He was like, no, just hurl me around. It was like an argument. It was that first time they meet. There was much more physical in the original script.
Oh, I remember.
I
You
got
put me
a gun out. I got a gun out. But you were like, just go for it. You were like, pull my hair.
But it was amazing. I remember the time.
Go for it.
I remember it was amazing. Amazing. And I think there was like a very good connection there.
Yeah, it was cool.
I loved it.
Yeah. And then we also got a ton of questions about Gina, and a lot of the questions were the same, which was how many people knew in advance about the art? Did you know that Angela was going to turn out to be Regan McNeil? When did you learn that? When did you find that out? And then just questions about Regan McNeil is such a legacy character. It's such a it's you know, she's on the Mount Rushmore of sort of horror characters, and character like that. Kaylee asks, while making her a whole career of the show and still put your own performance in it, how do you bring that to life?
Coolest thing ever. And I'm sure you guys told me before we made it. I think I'm pretty sure I knew from the beginning. Is that right? Did I know from the beginning?
You knew before we shot the pilot. The only were Roland Jones, myself, you, and then we told Rupert Wyatt, who directed the pilot.
Right. So you other guys didn't know? And you guys didn't know? That's so
I knew for a while.
No.
Cool.
We knew before we started shooting.
Exactly. I think it was like going into that episode, Jeremy, Hannah, and I remember we got pie at that place. And all
Oh, God.
there.
Chicago pie.
Not my pie. But you told us there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
The cast all kind of learned one by one, and every one of you learned before Fox did, because that was my whole, like, the pilot, I've told this before, but that was my pitch, that was all kind of condensed into a single episode because Fox was so desperate too. We have to put as much stuff in this opening one. So we knew internally, the second we tell them this is Regan McNeil, that is going to get crammed into the pilot. And we thought it was really important that, like, look, you have to fall in love with this family. You have to care about this family because of who the characters are, not because that it's a continuation of the story. So I think everyone knew before the network and studio actually found out. I don't think they found out until episode 5.
Yeah.
Script got delivered.
So it was so cool. I just thought it was the coolest thing. And Jeremy, remember we were shooting the night you had your phone out and you were looking at it was on in the makeup trailer, and it came to that moment and you were looking at your phone and at Twitter or something, and it just like exploded, and every single one was like, what the fuck? And I never experienced, I have goosebumps now thinking about it. I never experienced it. Oh, it was so fun. It was really fun. I love that scene with Alfonso when I tell him. That was so cool. It was so great. And it made everything so much fun knowing that that's what it, you know. And
you had like a 4-page monologue to deliver that scene. Like, that was a very long, very hard scene, and you just knocked it out of the park time after time.
Right. Obviously, clearly. What else was
Can I tell my single favorite Gina Davis story from all of filming? And it's when we were filming the pilot, and Gina has like photographic memory. She is a genius. And so we had a couple of marimba players in the church, and it was like 3 people, all of them playing a marimba at the same time. And Gina walked up and watched them play through a song once. Just stood there, and then she was like, can I try that? And they handed it to her, and she took these things and kind of flawlessly played something that it took 3 people to play after hearing it once. And everyone watching was just like, you're a wizard, that's not normal. And she just kind of like shrugged and walked off. It's just a day in the life of Gina Davis.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Goodbye. Mic drop. Marimba drop.
Marimba drop.
It was because I was possessed.
And then in terms of playing Reagan, in terms of sort of honoring what had been done before, but also kind of that was kind of premeditated, and how much of that was you just doing what for the character?
Well, I did sort of feel, it's so many years later that I felt free to, and I had an idea what had been my life for the past, however many years that our family was together and all that from the scripts. So I felt pretty free to invent it. But I grew up watching that movie, endlessly, and I memorized every line. I know that movie inside out, and so it was actually incredibly meaningful to me to be able to play that character. And people often ask me too, did you feel intimidated or did you feel scared about doing it? It's so classic. But I think the coolest thing about this show was it wasn't the trying to make a series of The Exorcist. It was a whole new thing. It was a brand new invention, and of what happened after. And I think that's always like incredibly fascinating, what happens after a movie, a story happens. So I loved it. I loved it.
Let's see what else. Well, and let's talk to Alan as well, because out of all the characters, Henry changed by far the most from what was originally kind of conceived on the page, and then what we saw on screen. Because in my script that was written, the character of Henry was, I think, originally written as 10 or 12 years older than Angela Rance. And he was kind of experiencing the first steps of kind of what
dementia.
Yeah, and then the cast tapes came in, and they said, "Look, Alan Ruck is technically available," and the conversation just kind of ended for all of us. We were just like, "If we can get him, we're going to get him." But then once he was on there, that the dementia storyline didn't kind of make any sense for the character. And even when we were shooting the first episode, kind of didn't know what the story was. We were kind of figuring it out on the fly, and that was, I'm sure, incredibly frustrating for you as actor, Alan. But what you were doing was bringing the character to life before our eyes, and until it kind of snapped in for all of us, and we said, "Oh my God, that's who Henry is."
I'm frustrated at all. It's always a puzzle. I mean, if I'd had a great deal to do, then it would have been frustrating. But it was just the right amount. So the aim was, what's wrong with Henry? And so we kind of discovered it together. And I know that after a while you came up with the idea that, there was an accident. He was hit on the head, and it altered his personality, obviously, and it altered his life. So I wasn't frustrated anyway. The whole thing is a mystery, and it was fine to me that we didn't exactly know what was going on, and we kind of discovered it together.
Because of the story before we actually had the scripts coming in, where Henry did not survive the first season, where it seemed like, look, we're going to have to kill someone at some point. He seemed like, well, if Dad already had dementia, maybe that's the kindest or the easiest loss for the audience to swallow. And the second we had you and saw you on camera, we're like, we can't kill Alan
Nah, you could do it. You could totally do it. You could totally do it.
Couldn't do it.
Anyway, I had a ball. I was so pleased to be just. It was so exciting. You know what you guys did week after week. It was no small feat to take an iconic movie and then, as Gina said, you know what happens after. And so it was thrilling. It was strange in Chicago because I'd started out in Chicago as a young guy, and I left, I guess, in about 1985, and then I came back for however many months we were there all these years later, and I felt like Rip, as everything looked the same, but all my friends were really old, you know, and so that was kind of a little Twilight Zone experience.
But Alan's a rock star in Chicago. We had multiple tour people would be walking by and they'd like yell Cameron, like out of everyone who had like a big fan base in Chicago, there are some diehard Ferris Bueller fans in that city who would just
and they have the painting. Like I went to the museum and recreated the photo from Ferris.
I feel like that there should be more free shit. You know, I just feel if that's true, then then there should be more meals and rooms and things. No, I don't know.
And then Brianne and Hannah, obviously you guys went through a very similar process to Alfonso and Ben. You guys, if I'm remembering right, you tested a lot. You tested with each other. We were still trying to figure out the roles. We didn't know how long certain because both of you at different times in the series play the good girl and the potentially bad girl. You both have moments that go incredible moments where you had to be light and sunny and kind of fun high school kids, and giant casting search, and you guys were just everyone's kind of clear favorites. But what do you guys remember about that period?
I feel like wasn't I cast last because I feel like I got called in like last. Like I remember getting the audition. Like for me as an actor, that this was my first show. The audition process is very much like we just go out for everything. Like in pilot season is what they call it. Is you have like 3 auditions a day. It's crazy. And I got this appointment and I saw the email and it said The Exorcist and I was like, oh no. And I read the sides and I was like, shoot, I have to do this. Like it's been a long week and now I have to be possessed. And I was like, call my agents. I was like, can I get more time? And they were like, no, you have to go in tomorrow morning. And I was like, shoot. And I had to do the scene from the pilot with the little boy and Marcus. I had to audition with that scene, and it was much longer. I had to like bark like a dog, and it was wild. Like it was a wild scene, and I was like, shoot. So I in like Aramaic. I think I was speaking Aramaic or something. I don't know. It was wild. So I like went in on Friday, and then did it, and was like, well, there was that. Like I don't know what that was. I didn't really have time to like think about it, and then. And like Saturday, they called me and they're like, okay, and you have to test on Monday. And it's with everybody. Like I met with you and Rollin. And then I think Rupert was on Skype. Yeah, so that was my experience. And then I think I had the job Tuesday. Like I think it was like, it felt very fast and get it. And like a friend sent me the Deadline article and was like, oh, sorry. And I was like, oh, well, okay. Okay, it's nice. Yeah, so that was my experience.
I think I initially auditioned for Casey, and then the next day they called. They were like, "Actually, maybe sister." And then I went for Kat, and I think I remember I was testing for a comedy at the same time, and it got to a point where they're like, "You have to pick," and I'm very happy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm just going to ask, I'm going to bounce through some of these questions and try to make sure everyone gets a couple. Oh, yeah. Also keep an eye on the time because
I got one on my Instagram that's favorite episode or scene.
Oh, that's good.
Do you want to go around?
Oh, I know. The first time I got a lot of shit online was when I called the cops on Casey. Episode 5, I've never gotten more shit in my entire life than I did. How dare you call the police? You're the worst sister in the world. How could you do that? So that one.
Do you think Kat won them back by the end of the season, or do you think they're still mad at her for that?
Oh, I think a lot of people are still mad.
Really?
Yeah. That river ran deep.
But I would have done the same thing. That's why Kat called the cops, because I would have done the same thing. She's right to call the cops.
I was like, everyone around me is crazy. No one is listening to me. She's got to go.
My favorite, actually, when I got to break your knee. Do you remember that?
I will never forget that. Yeah.
You had your knee. You were supposed to hit your own knee, right, or something. And it wouldn't break, and I was like, give me that fucking hammer. And of course, I was like, I'm going to break this thing. And it was
a fake knee next to my very real knee also, which was scary. Because
I get very nervous.
That's tricky.
Real hammer.
Real hammers are tricky.
Real tears. Mm-hmm.
What about the rest of you guys? Was there a favorite episode or a favorite moment, or was there a scene that was harder for you to film, or something that really stands out in your mind?
Oh, man.
You know what? I really enjoyed the pilot, specifically the adrenaline of how fast everything happened. Like when we received the news and traveling to Chicago and just, I loved shooting the pilot. But also I remember episode 5, all the Exorcist, with Ben inside the room with Casey. I think that episode was very fun to watch and also to film. And actually, there were many parts during the whole first season. Had excellent moments, like watching Gina in episode 10. It was super fun, and I think she did an amazing job. I loved it, and all scene between Ben and Casey in the water was great. So yeah, that.
There was that really sweet scene on the stoop. I can't remember what it was, but it was between Ben and Hannah. Maybe it was the end. Maybe it was. Yeah. It was just a lovely scene. Just I don't know. I was just really taken with both of you in that, and simple and beautiful, and you were both really filled up. It was great.
It was nice.
I remember.
You're very good. You're very good.
Very good. You were there too. It was very.
I remember. This is not about an episode, but I remember when I auditioned for this. My wife, Mireille, hates devil movies. She hates horror. She's just, and so I went in and I said, well, it looks like they want me to do The Exorcist. And she said, you are not allowed to bring that energy in this, And then I said, but Gina Davis is attached. And then she went, oh, okay. You got to do it now. Yeah.
That was like me to mind her that it was a show about spiritual warfare. And she didn't know I was possessed. She claims that she didn't know I was possessed until she watched the pilot. She said that I lied and said I was possessed. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. Yeah, I have too many favorite memories. I mean, my back hurt a lot doing episodes 6 and 7, I think, all this.
Oh. Okay. Do a lot of swinging around on the
I'm like,
fire.
oh. It was fun though, like getting hoisted up. That was my first time like doing stunts and stuff, like in the and again when we shot the pilot, it was like I want to do it. And Jeremy, you'd show me that video from, what was that horror movie you showed me where the girl, it was the CGI thing, but the girl like did that melty walk, and I was a dancer and I was like, ooh, I want to do that kind of like lusty to me. And yeah, they were like, well, you have to get in the harness and don't get it in this one thing, and like you can't do it. And I was like, okay, like put me in, coach, I guess. But yeah, it was so fun to get to like fly around and flail around and get drowned and all the stuff.
Yeah, Hannah, there were times, like episode 5 in particular, I remember you were having to speak in like 4 different languages, well, with Coke bottle contact lenses while you're on a flying harness being balls for like 6 hours.
I couldn't
It was
have
just
done
like, this is what you signed
I
up
couldn't have
for.
done that without Ben Daniels. Like, honestly, I swear, like, he was like my pet in that moment. Like, he was like, it's okay. Like, you can do this.
Oh
Like,
my God, I remember that.
and the
Yeah.
candles kept going out or something. Like, there was some cue that kept getting messed up, and I'm hanging upside down, and I'm trying to remember my lines, trying to speak Aramaic, and like the blood's rushing into my head of where I'm at, you know. I'm like coming up, and then I was starting to be like, oh my God. And Ben was like, it's okay. Like he centered me, and I was like, okay, yeah, we got this. And then we got it.
Oh.
But yeah, it's fun times. I mean, that was all of you. I feel like I didn't have to do anything. I would just show up because everyone was so good and full, and the scripts were so good, Jeremy.
Yeah.
I mean, also when I said ugh to Exorcist, that was like because I was like, oh, a remake. Like, you know, as I was blonde at the time, and as a blonde young girl, you get a lot of bad horror movie auditions. And yeah, and I read the script.
I thought it was a remake. I didn't. I mean, I'm obsessed with that movie.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I didn't look at it when it first came in. Like, some remake, you can't remake. It's like the holy grail of horror.
Exactly.
My husband was like, no, fucking read it. It's not that.
Yes.
A long phone call before we even met where you just kind of geeked out for like a half an hour about how The Exorcist is like your favorite movie or like the greatest of all time. And
it is my favorite movie.
Like, even if I don't get this role, don't fuck this up. Like you are walking out. This is an title that means a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah.
There were a lot of questions on Twitter, and one question from Sister Kathleen was the moment that hooked me on the show was when Marcus sexily ate an orange at Father Bennett. Where did Ben Daniels learn to do that, and is there a class I can take?
No, I'm born with it. I'm born with the orange eating sexy.
But we had a couple of questions. Henry asked, what was it like playing a character who was both religious and unapologetic that we've never seen on TV before? And that was something that really kind of developed over the course.
Yeah, it did. I remember having a conversation, I think, just before we shot the pilot, and I think Rollin said, you know, we want to make him gay. And I was like, hold on a minute. I think it's something that's so repressed. I think what would be more interesting is if he didn't quite know what he was. He'd been sort of so swamped in this religious life, and he pushed everything down, all that trauma and actually who he was. And so it was more like a teenager finding out. And it sort of fit in with, you know, the writing of it as well, you know, how we could discover that in the moment. I thought it was really cool the way it happened. Go on, sorry.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, there was another question from Marisol that said, I read Ben came up with several ideas about his background. And it was a pretty regular thing where you would come and be like, you should have a sketchbook. I think and you would show us like the sketches you're drawing, and you're like,
yeah,
okay, that's awesome. That's brilliant.
Well, I think I got obsessed with right from the very first meeting I had with you. You said, we've got this sort of idea of a scene where he's like 9 years old or 11 years old, and he goes in and a woman is possessed and he gets rid of the demon. And it sort of stuck with me. I thought, how is that going to happen? Either he's like really, really incredibly holy, or maybe he's incredibly angry. And then why has he got a gun? I fixated on the gun, and then sort of came up with that backstory of that violence in his youth, and then that would have led to him being adopted, and then and it was this whole thing that just kind of flew out. And then I sent it off to you and Roland. You were like, this is gonna like work in, and then you developed it further, and it was.
And also Ben, I remember you asked for your Bible like probably 1 week before, and you did like some.
Well, no, they said, "Do you want to do the Bible? Do you want to actually?"
Yeah.
It was in the script. It was just that he redacts it. So I sat there with this Bible, going, "Okay, what? Okay, well, he knows this Bible backwards. So like, I just like Tipp-X'd out whatever you call it in America. I don't know, that white stuff when you make a mistake. White out. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. All of Leviticus went in one kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Kind of, and then I thought, well, maybe he would like draw, maybe he would take notes, and maybe that would make him think there's a new into this thing that I just carried on sketching throughout the entire job. And then Fox said that I could keep it afterwards if it didn't go ahead. And suddenly someone emailed me, it's on eBay. No. The Bible.
Yes, I remember.
And I was like, no, get this. And I had like 5 computers, my phone, everything open. So I was just like firing bids, and I got it. I got it back. It came up.
How in the
You didn't have to buy it.
I know. But there were loads of things on there. There were like to people's costumes. I mean, like someone obviously just like, ran into the Fox backlot and
Whoa.
it was just shit all
I
over.
have
How much did it cost? And they were like, "Oh no, that's part of the Fox vault. Like they keep everything. You can't give those to the actors." And then like a week later, it was all on eBay.
Yeah.
It was like $400 or something I had to pay for my own Bible.
My word. Well, I have my teeth. Maybe I should list those on eBay. My little. I'm just going to start wearing them.
Yeah.
They're bad. I did wear them for an audition. I had to play like a hillbilly I didn't get it. They went local. It was for the Righteous Gemstones, which I love. And I wore
went in with your Exorcist teeth.
Yeah, and the description was, she's a perfect 10 with terrible teeth. And I was like, we got this, baby.
Weren't they like monster teeth though? Weren't they like sharpened and green?
They were like brown. Honestly, I have a photo I'll send y'all later. It's so funny. They look, I had a hot pink lipstick. I don't know. Yeah.
Another question that kind of ties into that for both Ben and Alfonso is just how much research did you guys do into actual exorcisms? How deep did you go down that rabbit hole to get that right? And once you do that, do you find that stuff gets stuck in your head? Is it hard to leave the darkness?
I got terrified. I really freaked myself out. I did so much research and reading and watching videos and completely immersing myself in it. And it went where I was like every creak and like lying in bed at night, I just thought, oh, I'm inviting it in. I've invited like the devil in. I'm going to be possessed, and I would wake up in these awful sweats. But then I went to see a priest. It was like part of the research. I went to see this amazing priest in Chicago, and who said he wasn't an exorcist. I think you put me onto him, Jeremy. I think maybe you had, and he said his best friend was an exorcist, but whether he was or not, I don't know. But he said, no, you have to actively invite it in. And I thought, okay, well, I've not done that. I know I'm making a TV show, but I'm not actively inviting it in. But yeah, it's
bait that orange, and the devil was like, okay.
What about you, Alfonso? In performing the exorcisms on film and everything, is that fun to just have a day of basically yelling? Because you guys were kind of screaming your vocal cords out for hours at a time. Like, how hard is that to kind of bring that intensity over and over again for an entire day?
Well, at the beginning, it was because the rites and the incantation that we had to do were actually the the incantations that you must say while you are performing an exorcism. But with Ben, it's so hard not to laugh. So it's so hard not to laugh. And I remember, and this takes me to season 2. I remember they gave us like these fake teeth. And I know you remember, Ben, we were performing an exorcism, and we were just joking around doing those videos. But I just, from time to time, I still have them. And from time to time, when I feel down, I just go to my iPhone and I just look at them, and it's like, I always smile.
It was one of those,
but like
that was one of those awful days when they put us in all the kind of possessed makeup and stuff, and the eyes, and then like it was really embarrassing. They just said, just kind of be demon-y in the room, just go crazy, and we were like, oh no, this is it's really, really embarrassing. But then they turned these massive fans on, didn't they? And they were like throwing stuff. Just weeping with laughter and just running around on top of poor John Cho, just screaming with laughter and just like we couldn't look at, and then we would like get serious.
But actually, we were laughing. We were laughing at our ass out, and they say it's great. We love it. It's great. And we were just having a great time. But like going into like talking about religion, obviously I live in Mexico. Mexico is a very Catholic country. All my family were raised Catholic. Even myself, since I was like 3 years old, I went to mass with my mom. So it was like a part of me in terms of how I grew up, specifically in Guadalajara. So I tried to go and talk to priests here in Mexico, and they didn't want to share any type of information. And it was very specifically for me, because it's something that is accepted by the Vatican. And the Vatican and any religious authority would understand that it's a reality. But it shocked me that I received so little information from the people you would guess you would guess like get some advice. But at the same time, I talked to not priests, and it was interesting to understand this, and I enjoyed being part of this show.
Let me find
Hello,
some.
Alan.
Hi, buddy.
A lot of the questions are were asked many times. It's is there going to be a season 3? Probably not. It's unlikely. Fox owns the rights to the TV show, and they do not seem to be too interested in doing anything with those rights. People have asked, is there a chance of having a movie to wrap everything up? And unfortunately, no, we can only, because Warner Brothers owns the rights to the movies, Fox owns the rights to TV show characters. The two don't really play well together. A lot of people have questions about what the cliffhanger at the end of season 2 meant and what would have happened in the future. I can say that stuff. It just makes it slightly less likely that it ever. I wish we had one of those sort of running totals of donations where they'd be like, okay, once we hit, I will.
Well, we could do an amendum. We could do, if it reaches X amount, then Jeremy will do a little
That's
video.
true, yeah. Okay, what's a good dollar amount there? What should we go for? 5,000? 10,000?
That's on you, man. That's your idea. That's your idea.
$200? I don't know how many people are going to watch this.
40
let's say if it hits a certain number that's inside my head, I will. I'll do a follow-up video and I'll tell you guys what happens in seasons 3, 4, and 5. How about that? So if you want to know what would have happened next,
$6.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did anybody have I got a lot of questions that were like, did anything spooky happen on set or after?
Well, do you remember when
Oh,
a priest
what?
came to set? Do you remember when a priest came to set and he started like giving
Holy
blessings?
water.
That's
Yeah,
when
holy
it
water.
did for me. I was like, oh no, this is like, I mean, I was raised Christian in the like Bible in Georgia, and yeah, my nana's a pastor and whatever, and I was fine, I'm gonna be fine. And then I started to do research, freak myself out. I don't your wife, Alan. I was like, I don't like that stuff. I don't like the devil. I wasn't allowed to watch Exorcist. But yeah, the priest coming on set, I was like, uh-oh, this is real. Like, we're starting to live into the devil's work here. Ghost years later too, but I've never seen.
You heard
So,
one? What did it
I
say?
heard one. I was at the Driscoll Hotel in Austin, Texas, which is like a very famous haunted hotel. And the woman at the front was like, "Yeah, there's this little ghost. There's these stairs. This little girl, she was chasing a ball, and she broke her neck and she died." And I was like, up there, I was like, "Yeah, right. Okay, I'm gonna go." Just mind my own business and we'll be fine. And I was like up there looking around, there's this really pretty mirror, and I like took a picture with my friend in the mirror, and then we're walking down the stairs and I hear like a ball bouncing, and I was like, oh no. And my friend caught a picture of me like coming down the stairs. You see me like
Oh.
Zuzu.
so I did open the door, I guess. But that was my only experience. So
Well, Ben and Alfonso and Kurt all filmed the pilot in the sort of favelas outside of Mexico City, and it wasn't supernatural scary, but you know, we definitely had guys with machine guns with us at all, and I do remember them being like, "Oh yeah, no, you're totally safe." But if the guys with the machine guns weren't here, you would be kidnapped instantly. And a couple of us were like, we were here location scouting a week ago and there were no guns.
I love my town.
But
I love
you guys
my
want to
town.
talk about that experience?
Well, filming in Mexico, it was amazing.
It was awesome.
It was really brilliant. And then Alfonso to the wrestling, which was even better than the filming.
I remember rolling. Yes, remember you used it for Halloween. I can't remember when, but I said, "Hey,
not just
Jeremy's mask."
Yeah.
maybe some orange practice. That's what that
I ate lots of fruit in my Mexican wrestling mask.
Well, we should probably wrap this up. I know you guys are all super busy. Does everyone have any sort of final words about the show, the fans, your amazing castmates that you got to come to set with every single day?
I loved doing this show. It was like, that's why I couldn't pick like one little bit. I loved every day. It was just like skipping to work. I couldn't do it. It just filled me so creatively. I couldn't have loved it more. It was great. And working incredible group of people it was fantastic. What a treat. It's brilliant.
Me too.
I'd do it again like a shot. If they said season 3 was happening, I'd do yes. Let's do a quarantine version.
Yeah.
I've got a weird attic.
We're halfway there.
We're there.
I had a little bit of when the show ended, because I went right to New York. I'm very lucky. I went right to New York to start work on another show, and I missed you all, and I couldn't believe it was over. You know, and I mean that's just the nature of our business connections, and you have these little families on these movies or these shows, and then nothing lasts forever. But yeah, I had a couple of hard days. I was like,
Is
my
show
buddies.
at the far so
Yeah.
for the experience and the cast and the writing, and I feel like I learned so much from I got to have that experience when I did, because everything I've worked on afterwards, I think about you guys all the time. I learned so much. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Me too.
And also all the fans were very happy because trying to is something very hard. And I want to thank once again Hannah for this opportunity, for having this amazing idea of bringing us together. It was a treat to work with you guys. Thank Jeremy for your pen, for your amazing scripts, for your amazing ideas. Thank you, Ben, also for being an amazing sidekick, for being there as a brother. It was a pleasure going to set and just find a smile always. And Anna, Brian, Gina, Alan, thank you, Alan. Thank you, Alan, for your words. Chicago, specifically for me, was a bit intense because of the personal process I was going through. And your words at that time were very... so thank you also. Thank you, Alan, for that. You know what I'm talking about, being a dad and all that stuff.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. It's been so great to see all your face. Love you so much. I miss you all very, very much. And I wish we were still doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much for doing this, guys. I love all
you
you. Please click and donate. It's for a very important, very good cause. And thank you to the cast of The Exorcist.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.